Welcome to Proven Approaches to AI-powered end-to-end testing presented by Applitools. I'm Pam Morgan, and I will be the session host. I'm joined today by my colleague Sharon Cetus-Weiss, a customer success engineer here at Applitools. With more than 12 years of experience in the industry, including various R&D and customer-facing roles, Sharon leverages their knowledge, technical expertise, and enthusiasm for quality to support and guide our customers. Their ability to take a bird's eye view helps customers fine-tune their testing strategies to their advantage.
So thanks everyone for joining. I'm very much excited to be here with you today and share with my experience. And I would actually like to start by telling you that I really have the passion for quality and for testing for quite a long time, as Pam already mentioned earlier. So I did various of R&D roles, and I was doing all. And I also walked through in Applitools over 60 different brands. And this slide is actually not about the Applitools customers. This slide is about one thing all of these customers have in common. Many of them are brands which I personally walked them through the Applitools journey, personally had a chance and the opportunity and the honor to help and assist and get these teams to better, faster releases, to better quality and better coverage. And this is a personal honor for me. So what's the one thing these brands have in common in so many different industries, in finance, in retail, in media, and more and more? The thing is, traditional testing just can't keep up. They all realize that traditional testing just can't scale to today's challenges. Whether it's frequent releases, applications are becoming more and more complex. You need to support more devices and more viewport size and browsers and more, and it's just endless. You need to basically cover so many screen types. When I was a developer myself, I was struggling a lot with automation. I was using protractors back then based on Selenium, and this was an exhausting a task that took maybe 30% of the team's time, and was very, very poor in terms of coverage. So most bugs were eventually escaped, and it was so frustrating. Fun fact, I had a chance to meet with my team, since my previous company is Applitools a customer. So I had a chance to meet with my team, the team I was developing with, on the other side of the table, and show them and demonstrate our Applitools capabilities, and they were so enthusiastic about this. And I know it could help me so much when I was sitting on that chair back then. So not only that the coverage is poor, but testing is also the #1 cause for velocity loss. And this pain point is also extremely, I can very much relate to that, because I experienced that with my own hands. So velocity loss can slow down exponentially the whole development lifecycle, and this is such a shame. 50% of any cent invested in software is going for finding and fixing bugs. All these servers here that you see is, all these details here are, I guess you can relate to some of them as well. And this is a shame. This is a lot of effort. This is a lot of resources, a lot of investments. Organizations are serious about automation. This quote is taken from the 2024 DevOps survey by GitLab. More and more organizations are getting serious about automation, and from our experience here at Applitools, we see that there is a trend to shift to more and more automation, not only from the perspective of the development lifecycle, but also from the human, the manpower, the human skill set. So basically, we find ourselves walking customers through a process of getting their manual testers to do automation. You just come to your offices tomorrow morning as a manual tester, and your bosses tell you that today you're starting to be an automation engineer. Welcome, you are hired. And we see a lot of automation engineers start doing what we sometimes call, or some organizations call, a roadmap development. So they do like the classic coding of new features. And again, they came to the office as automation with the head of automation engineers. Now they need to be doing roadmap development, including automation testing. And on the other side, the roadmap developers now require to do automation as well. They are responsible for their code. They are responsible for the quality of their features, their releases, and this is becoming more and more challenging. And in this twilight zone on the right side, you can see the area of lack of coverage. So basically, when we try to help those customers shift left here on this diagram, we always find that many areas are just not being covered whatsoever. And we are trying to help them push as many things from this twilight zone to the area that is enlightened with all this automation, with the coverage, with the different approaches, most of them basically AI-based. This is what we're going to focus on today. I guess later on at the end, Pam will share with you the next sessions in this series. That's basically that one session that covers all kind of topics just to raise your curiosity, and stay tuned for the rest. More than that, customers also shift left and start to test as early as possible. As you probably know, as early you find bugs in the process, this is how easier and cheaper to fix and to fix those bugs. And also, you want to protect your brand. We'll talk about this soon. And we also see customers, this is so exciting to walk customers through this, because we also see customers shifting left up until the design and architecture phase. They want to see where Figma can be tracked in terms of differences and bugs, and how we compare that to the actual implementation, and more. So this is exciting to see that. More than that, when I just joined Applitools, I was thinking, okay, testing, it's part of the development lifecycle. But now I see more and more organizations zoom out to the organizational lifecycle. That means that not only developers and QA engineers are interested in testing, but also designers, product managers, digital marketers, and the whole sales lifecycle. It's all kind of combined. And we want to help them be able to collaborate and to get a better visualization of what exactly is tested and covered, and how to do things much better. So with the exponential growth in complexity, you can see this just an example of, think of how many elements needs to be covered in each page. So it used to be 20, 30 years ago, much more simple page, simple functionalities of a page. So now we need to cover much more, and also different devices. So on the left side, a few of the organizational challenges, which are extremely huge, are the skill set. Engineers all over the development lifecycle needs to automate. Organizations are rapidly changing, and also you need to save resources, do more with less. And another important point here to take from this slide is the tool chain consolidation. pretty much all organizations are looking for tool chain consolidation, and today's challenges, today's platforms are just spread all over. Breaking down each step of the life cycle is has tons of different tools competing one another, but no one kind of gathers everything to under the same umbrella. So this is a huge challenge. Velocity, this is pretty much what we're talking here. Velocity, the volume, the complexity of the applications. I guess you can all relate to that. So how do we do things different? So first of all, Applitools is becoming a platform. And that's a unique platform in a way that all of it end-to-end is AI powered. Every stage here is AI powered. The only stage I can think of which is outside of this diagram is the strategy. And today you can see very nicely how with ChatGPT and other AI-based tools and machine learning tools, you can easily generate testing strategy. You can break it down to the different single or whatever I can call this, like a single element, single use case, single test case, and you can also get ChatGPT to write your own code. But this would be hard to implement and get this into your development lifecycle. So it can help to some extent, but let's focus on this area here. When let's say I want to first start with the authoring part, but basically our mission is to unlock the automation challenges. We're going to use human vision modeling. We want to mimic the human eye. We're going to automate the test maintenance. We're going to help you triage the testing and be able to click much less clicks on your screen when you get your test results. Self-healing mechanisms are now implemented throughout our platform in all our products, and this is a true game changer. Automated data test generation is extremely important when you want to cover big bulks of data sets, or you want to be able to manage the data in other tests or in later phases of the test scenario. On this cube over here, automatic test suite creation, this is a big one. Generative AI can help you with authoring your tests and much, much more. I want to show you this very quickly soon. Authoring the test in plain English. This is also something, I guess these two cubes go together, and I want to show you how in the latest versions of our solutions, we combine these two together. So let's zoom in to the authoring phase. Autonomous is here. So before jumping into a live demo, which we'll probably be able to show you in a glance again, because we're going to have a dedicated session per each topic here. But let's start with the vision. What's the vision of autonomous testing? So autonomous, and I'm going back here to this authoring part. Autonomous is the new solution by Applitools that is going to pretty much take over the other solutions under the same umbrella in the future. And this will allow you to author your tests in all different ways here that I will show and demonstrate, and get it all like in a funnel with the same results displayed in autonomous. Because the next layer that we'll get to is the validation phase. The validation assertion is all shared across all our platforms. It's one layer that we made sure to align. That's actually the power of AI. Is that this is where AI shines, and we want to make sure that all our platforms are aligned with that. So this is so in this layer that we'll get to, you will be able to see where everything comes together to the same common ground. So again, these 4 ways of authoring tests now are available. That whether that's automatic code generation with TestGen AI, ICE SDKs. We support over 60 SDKs, and each of them allows you to test visually your screen. Preflight is a record and playback tool, and Autonomous, which is basically now going to combine all the 3 together. So the vision is autonomous testing platform. Autonomous, everything should be just like automatic machine, like automatic cars, automated cars. We want to be able to do everything without man touch. So that's a very the first point is very easy and quick setup. You don't need more than just a few clicks in order to get an actual test up and running in the air. You don't need to have a CI. You don't need to manage Dockers. You don't need to take care of any infrastructure on your end. It's all done on our side with a very simple, easy setup. Automatic website and discovery. So we help you to cover your website in a way that no other tool can do right now. That's a web crawler that can scan your sitemap and get you test results based on a full mapping of your sitemap. Natural language and also AI recorder solution is also now available. Flexible test orchestration, of course, and a few more like solutions like cross-browser testing, which I will touch in a few more minutes. So how do we author tests? I actually want to show you this. It will be more easy. And if I go here, this is basically the autonomous homepage. Let's start from here. It will be maybe easier for you to get into this. We see here a summary of the testing that was done in the past 7 days. But what more interesting is the actual test creation. So you can either test a full website. I think I can enlarge this a little bit. I hope everyone can see that well. You can either test a full website. That's literally just giving us a URL, and we will cover any of the URLs in your sitemap, including nested sitemaps, on whatever platforms you want to test upon. So that's, I don't know, Safari, Edge, whatever, mobile, web on mobile, and all of that. And that would be based on just supplying the actual URL. That's it. The URL list is the way for you to tell us which URLs you would like us to scan. And we will also report you back if there's any one of these URLs that is not available, 404. And more interestingly for this context is the custom flow. The custom flow allows you to go really wild. This is a way to basically adjust the testing scenario based on your needs. This page here can help pretty much any of the stakeholders I talked about earlier to run their test, to write their test and run them and create the plan of execution and do pretty much anything you can think of. So this is based on NLP. Anyone can write their own test scenarios based on natural English. Not only that, you can use other languages. You can write your testing scenarios in Spanish, and then the corrector, the autocorrect language model will fix and make it as English-based. And also it would know how to recognize whether that's actually a Spanish word you want to put in a field, or or actual command. So this is a prepared like a demo flow. It starts with going to navigating to this application, pressing the contact us button, visually check the screen with eyes. This is our validation tool, validation layer. Then we can click submit, and now we can check the screen again. We type, let's say, I think this one is confusing, sorry. We type Shiran in the name field. This is my name. Not only that I can type Shiran, I can also make it a variable. And then when I get the AI corrector, then it knows exactly which variable we talk about. And if it doesn't know, then it will tell me, please tell me what's the value of this variable. Let's call this variable email, or this one should be maybe name. It would be even easier. And then I should get the AI to fix that, and then it tells me to create the variable. Let's press enter. Yeah, now I need to put Shiran and some email.com, whatever. Then it would automatically know what to do. Okay, answer it inserted it as already before, so now it does it again. We can visually take the screenshot here. We can also pause for like a breakpoint. And more interestingly, now we also have this interactive browser session. So everything you see on the right side is an actual live browser. Not only that it's a live browser, it's a live browser on the actual machine where it's going to be executed upon. So that's a real image of what you're trying to test. So this will reduce many of the flakiness that you might be experiencing. Another feature that was introduced in this version is the recorded session. So you can actually record your flow on the screen, and it will be automatically converted to user actions on the left side. This is what you see here. Any step that you finish, that you complete, you can execute it on the spot. And you can add, of course, many other types of different actions. You can also store the value. Let's say store the value to the right of your request. Let's do that. Well, I guess we need to start from the beginning because we had a few steps here that we did not execute. Let's start off from the beginning. It'll be much easier. Okay, I wouldn't want to waste too much time on this because I see that I already messed up this test a little bit. So apologies for that. We're putting the name, we are putting the email, we are clicking submit, and then we can continue from there. I do want to show you one more thing. You can also do kind of a validation phase. So you can actually validate the actions, the values on the screen. So when I stored this value, let's store it to request ID. Before clicking submit, I want to add another step that would tell us to submit. And I will put it up here. And then click submit. This will also be recorded. Let's start with the next phase. our request was submitted and the value was also stored into request ID. Now I can use this value in order to validate it. Like I can validate that about us is visible. These are suggestions that they give me. Validate that request ID is a number. Request ID is a number. And more. Again, I don't want to get this too much complicated here, but the concept here is that you can cover any flow on a bulk of URLs and manage the test results just like you do, just like with using AI. And I want to get to the validation part. So this is the area where you validate. Let's go back to the slide. So we talked about the authoring part. We talked about the validation. The validation part is also automated partially, and I will show you that. Dynamic assertions is now also covered. You can also mark areas that are dynamic and tell us exactly what are the areas that are rapidly changing. What you see here on those two different screenshots is basically the way we validate and assert a page. So this brings me to the concept of validation. I think it should have. I'm gonna Pam. Sorry for that. I'm gonna switch the order here. So the validation part is kind of a base and common ground for us to talk today. So let's zoom in on that. So with the limited coverage and maintenance that never ends, look at the Cypress code here. Look how many lines of codes you need in order to validate a page. There's brittle assertions and locators that needs a constant maintenance. And the way to overcome this is to protect your brand, because look at this login form. It's basically rapidly changing, and it could also get a lot of escaped bugs with the previous approach, because even if there is a line of code to a certain element, it still doesn't mean it wasn't overridden, or it has a different color or a different font. And it's basically impossible to cover all those changes. And the text changes and feature changes will require you to go and change your code. So this is something we see quite a lot, and the tests are so fragile, so it will also break if locator that the DOM are based upon will change, like the ID or some attribute of the DOM element. And this is a login form that pretty much anyone can relate to. It starts, it's relevant for any application in the industry. And the way to protect your brand is to fully cover this with visual AI. This is where the validation part comes to shine. This is basically a picture of our dashboard, the eyes dashboard. And on the left side, we're going to see the baseline, while on the right side, we're going to see the checkpoint. The baseline is the expected state of the web page, while on the right side, it's the actual state, the current condition. And I guess you can all relate to that, that you can see with your eyes a few differences between these two images. Usually, you'll probably see the skipped donut here, and the hole that is now full, and more and more. And the power of AI here comes to place when we compare these two images. So there's 4 ways to compare them with Applitools. We're going to focus on 2 ways that are AI-based and so super powerful. So the first initial way is to show you all the differences that are visible to the human eye. while we show you the differences that are visible to the human eye, we ignore all tiny pixel rendering issues that are very common when you upgrade your browser, when you switch to a different Docker or whatever. And with this approach, we reduce around 20% false positives based on our statistics that we can easily capture from our backend, like a false positive reduction. So that's one thing that we do. Another thing is handle dynamic content. So how do we handle that? You can imagine that this Yahoo Finance application or a web page is probably rapidly changing during the day. The numbers here, the lists here are always changing, and we wouldn't want our tests to break upon these changes. So what do we do? If we go for the eyes visualization, mimicking the human eye approach, we will get all these different false uh, differences. We don't want to alert about that. We just want to make sure that the structure remains the same. So for this, we have the dynamic, the dynamic uh, dynamic approach, layout mechanism, which is AI-based, a very, very powerful mechanism that reverse engineers the page and makes sure that the structure remains the same. So that means if the list here was changing order or the numbering is different, it all should have the same structure, including the format, so the plus here and the percentage here. But we did detect one difference that seems crucial, since we expected to see a number here, but we didn't. So this is the layout mechanism, which is very powerful. And before going to the execution part, which I'm not sure we have much time for, I do want to share a few more things. So we did talk about, we talked about autonomous. Things here got a little messed up, so sorry for that. But I do want to get a better understanding of how things work here. So join us to the next sessions. And also, again, this is a glance of how this is going to look, how the visual validation that we just did during the test is going to take place here into the autonomous testing. So autonomous testing allows you to run your test based on whatever plan you want. Either it's a daily plan or a night run, or any other perspective that you would like to take here. And also you can cover dynamic content, just like this time here that is changing. You see that it's 8:45. I'm going to remove the pink areas because sometimes it's harder to see it that way. And I would like to show you how the validation part is executed, is done. So if I remove the pink area, we see that the timing was changed, and now I can actually set a region to be dynamic, and I don't have to use, the test wouldn't need to fail for that. So I can mark this area only, which is, by the way, based on the DOM element, to be either ignored or to be tested as layout, which would mean that the test would now pass. As you can see, that the timing was marked as to ignore, or maybe I will change it to layout and apply changes. And layout would validate the structure. And again, we see that the differences are now gone and the test is passing. And this is a new feature that allows you to basically be much more robust. So because if this timing area will move and shift in place, then the element will move with it. I want to go back for a second to the this platform here. So we did talk about the validation part, the authoring part, the execution part. There's also a lot in the area of cross-browser testing and the intelligent way that we do this in Applitools, which is unique to the whole industry. In just a few words, I can say that the main strength here is the speed. We can cover as many platforms as you wish in just the same time it takes to cover one platform. The magic happens because we capture the DOM and the HTML on the initial test execution and all the resources and CSS and whatever, and we send it to our cloud for rendering. We only render these DOMs. We just basically dump this HTML into remote browsers and emulators and mobile emulators, and then you can cover in just the same amount of time, sometimes even a bit less amount of time to then capturing one screen. You can capture 20, 30, and even 100 different platforms. And self-healing mechanism is also there. I just want to show you one more thing, and sorry for skipping back and forth. I want to zoom in for a second on this area here. I'm going back to what I said at the beginning. The manual procedures, the manual testers now come to the office in the morning, and their bosses tell them that they start automation, to do automation. How do they do that? So this is another AI-based approach, generative AI, that helps you create Cypress code based on recorded actions on the screen. You can basically record your actions on the screen and get the result as a Cypress code, which is already getting all best practices implemented into this, and basically it allows you to also self-heal the test. So there's also integrated self-healing mechanism and data generation capabilities, and a bonus of a POM creation, the page object model, that will actually, the plugin will allow you to detect all the different interactable elements on the screen and will generate a POM based on that, so that everyone can share the best practices of using POM and share the same functionality in the way you interact with the page, so that there's no so there's much less flakiness and much less maintenance work. This is where I'm gonna pause for your questions.
I'll start first with Nancy ask, does this support different OS browsers and environments?
Okay, so yeah, as I showed you, the ultra-fast grid, that's our solution for cross-browser testing, will definitely support different browsers, different devices, and I hope this answers the question.
Sebastian asks, can you create the test clicking in the elements building your test path?
So the interactive browser, the recorded session, will allow you to do any action on the screen, and it is also backed with the NLP here that allows you to, fix these commands, and it allows you to add more also API testing. This is a new feature. You can actually trigger server API calls and do much more. So this is kind of a mix of few approaches together. I hope this answers the question. We do have another tool that we acquired recently called Preflight, which is a record and playback tool, and it's a standalone for now. And basically, this is going to be integrated into Autonomous fully in the future. So this is what you see here in the interactive browser. But just so you know, there's also a separate tool just for the record flow, which allows you a vast amount of different capabilities on the screen.
The next question from Leo, what are the benefits of Applitools Visual AI when compared to solutions such as Rainforest QA? And then he's asking too, does Applitools eyes come part of the base suite? And I've brought Edward to the stage too. He can maybe help with the questions also.
So I guess the question here is how Applitools visual validation is compared to other tools in the industry. I guess that's that's the answer. It's easier to answer on because that's pretty much Applitools, and all the rest, which are mostly 99% are kind of a pixel to pixel validation comparison mechanism. And the pixel to pixel will break in so many cases, and that's basically the main difference. Like I can show you here the same Yahoo Finance page, which I showed you earlier, if that's something that would, I don't know if you see that well, but take a look at the area over here in this green part. If I switch to a pixel level, this is the exact matching level, you see that there's much more differences that we detected, but they are not relevant whatsoever. You cannot see any of them with your own eyes. If I put them one on the top of the other, it's impossible to see that. So that these are the false positives. And the whole support in dynamic content, just like we did here, this is a huge difference between us and other toolings, and I guess this is what you were asking. If not, then you can maybe sharpen your question in the comments.
There is a question from George. I'm going to share on the screen. When Autonomous is using a selector such as the name field, how does it handle changes to the element, such as if the class or properties change? Would it affect the test at all?
Oh, this is a wonderful question. So the name field is actually something to your selection. That's actually a parameter you want to assign to the test. But autonomous, and I guess this is what you really want to get an answer on, autonomous is so smart that it's not relying and not based on the DOM element. So clicking the contact us button would work even if the element behind the scenes is changing or changing its ID or changing whatever, and it's currently a completely different element, and it could be an actual different based on DOM or the other practices. The whole website could be on with a different platform behind the scenes, like let's say React or Angular. There could be all kind of shifts like that that we see in the industry, and this would be completely seamless.
We have a question from Kalish. Can we reuse the recorded steps to avoid writing duplicate code?
Yes, of course. You can just duplicate your tests with Autonomous. Like go back to the test list. You can just create a duplicate test. There should be a duplicate action here. That's a full sitemap. Wouldn't cover that, but you can just duplicate it and edit it. And there's also a capability to add a kind of login flow. And then in the future, there will be a capability to add to kind of pile and a sequence of different scenarios, one after the other. So I hope this answers the question.
Yeah. There was another question about a library, and I think the answer for that is on the roadmap. And so please stay tuned for that. I will let you know right now, kind of while we're talking about this, that we do have a free trial of Autonomous available right now that you can use. You can go over to the resources tab and select that, or you can speak with one of our testing specialists right now to see Autonomous in action with your tech stack. Sorry, Matali asked, can we compare the web page with design using Applitools?
Well, this is a very interesting and common question. So basically, all our customers would like to be able to compare the design with the implementation. This is quite challenging because you're trying to compare apples to oranges. And this is a question we struggled a lot over the years. We released a few solutions to support that. One of them is a Figma plugin that allows you to export all your Figma designs directly to Eyes, to the Eyes dashboard, where you can see all those screens together. You can also upload them over and over again as there are changes. But comparing the two different the actual Figma and the implementation is a bit more complex. We do see customers doing that. We do have customers that do that. But it's something that requires a bit more work because the image size is not exactly the same, and it's enough that a slight element will move and it all breaks. So I would recommend go for the layout approach to see if there's no huge differences, or just go for one of the solutions we are currently working to improve with. It's also on the roadmap. We can say it's also on the roadmap, but there are customers do that.
So I do have, there is a question about root cause of test failure. I think you maybe touched on it briefly, but maybe you could scoot back to how that works.
Well, so the autonomous test execution will supply a report of what exactly is going on. I do want to show you another feature that is maybe going to be more relevant for the sake of this question. Let me open another slide deck for that. I didn't plan to talk about this today, but I think it's stay tuned for the session. I'm going to maybe it's a good opportunity to say that I'll be speaking in one of the future sessions, the follow-up sessions, about debugging. And then I'm going to share much more information of how we debug, how do we manage the test results in all kind of different techniques. And one powerful tool that we do have in place with Eyes dashboard, with that, again, the Eyes dashboard, just to refresh your memories. It's the solution that is linked to the 60 different SDKs. All the testing platforms that you have today, you can integrate it. Tomorrow morning, you can integrate Eyes into them and get the visual validation, replacing the oldest way of asserting the old assertions. So this feature here is called root cause analysis, and it just compares basically the HTML and the CSS to show you exactly what went wrong when comparing these two images. In the future, it will probably also be integrated into Autonomous, and this can help you get a better visualization of exactly what's going on with your test.
Yeah. That's a great segue. So there are, we are running short on time. So I did just want to let everyone know that if we did not get to your question, do not worry. We have captured them all, and we will make sure that someone from our team follows up with you. I did see a couple of questions about, is there learning for this? Are there videos? Are there things like that? Yes, the answer to that is yes. There are things on the Applitools website. We have a robust documentation in this. We are beginning a how-to, kind of a deep dive series on, and we're calling it Applitools in Action. You will learn things on, as Sharon said, the debugging tools, cross-browser and cross-device testing, how to test dynamic content, and many other items. You can sign up for the whole series, or you can just sign up for individual sessions that are relevant to you. So be sure to take advantage of that. Part of our mission here at Applitools is to deliver unparalleled business value for all of our customers. If you are using Applitools already, please reach out to your account team to learn more about how your team can better take advantage of these strategies Sharon discussed today. And if you're not an Applitools customer, you can see firsthand the power of how leveraging AI in your end-to-end testing can really benefit by signing up for a free trial. There's a link, again, in the resources tab for a free trial of Autonomous, Or if you'd like to just try eyes, there's a trial of that as well. Again, thank you so much for joining us and for all of your questions. We hope to see you again soon.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.